What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Azar Speaks, where we explore life success from a spiritual, mental, physical, and financial perspective. Just wanted to go ahead and talk about my year in review for 2023. It's been pretty eventful, man. Some of the events that took place, I didn't want them to take place, but they did anyway. There were a lot of deaths of friends and family members, and obviously, no one wants that to take place. I know at least five brothers that I know. Personally, one guy I work with, my brother-in-law, three of my good friends, man. Two of my good friends, and then my cousin, he and his sister. Everybody lost their mom. All five of them lost their mom. My mom's 74, and Lord willing will be 75 next year. So it got me, a little bit concerned. Not necessarily, I won't say concerned, but just kind of thinking about the brevity of life, man. And my own mother, right? Potentially passing away in the next few years or something. Maybe I don't want to put a timeline on it. Only God knows. But I just say to say that you want to enjoy your people while you still have them, man. Enjoy your people as much as you can, because you just never know when God gonna call them home. On a spiritual level, I feel like honestly I kind of experienced a little bit of a decline this year. I haven't been going to church. We haven't been to church, my wife and family and kids and stuff. We haven't been to church since 2019 on a regular basis. I went in 2020 a few times, but that was it. I haven't been inside of a church building on Sunday morning in a long time now. So I can definitely feel there's a little bit of a decline or a decrease in the spiritual power in my life. And even though this year I did a okay job of reading my Bible on a regular basis, trying to read it more and praying more. I have prayed a lot this year, but I definitely don't have it as structured as I need to. On the financial tip, I'm a mortgage banker, and I do refinance. That's my specialty. And if you know anything about what's been happening this year with the inflation and the rates going up, it's been tough, man. It's been really tough, just because a lot of people don't want to get those higher rates. It's a hard sell when you tell a person, hey, I'm going to take you out of that 3% and take you to a 6%, 5%, 7%, whatever, right? And, the biggest way to help them is to consolidate their debt. But what if they don't have any debt? Or what if you just can't get them to see the vision? A lot of people are afraid to make that change. They've been dealing with, overpaying on the interest rates for their credit cards, personal loans, and things like that for so long that they're just kind of used to it, right? And you try to get them to make a change, and you want to give them a 30-year mortgage to pay off an account that they'll probably have paid off in 3 years. And you got to really, really help them see the pain, the fact that, hey, you might not make it 3 years before having to file bankruptcy. You may not make it those 3 years without, potentially losing your home, or just being, missing out on other things that you have to pay for, whether it's medication, whether it's sacrificing, family time. Now you got to work all this extra overtime to try to do it. So it's a tough sell, and people don't necessarily have that vision. And as a salesperson, you got to really paint that vision for them. So I will say that that's something that I've been working on. That's something I've been struggling with, quite honestly, trying to make people just see that vision. And you got to really, really paint that for them. Let's see. Physically, I started out the year pretty good in terms of doing push-ups and lifting weights and stuff like that, and running, trying to get some stuff done, being more attentive to that. In the beginning of the year, I was pretty focused on that. As the year went on, though, especially towards the last few months, I could see that I just totally fell off. So, just doing push-ups, man, I was noticing I was doing sometimes just 50, 100, 150 push-ups a day, sometimes, try to get over that. Plus doing some curls and, just taking, 60, 70 pounds, doing curls with that all in the same day. And it was like effective, man. It was really building me up, trying to do, 50 to 100 of those, plus the 100, 200 push-ups, in a single day, man. That really was I saw the consistency. I'm not one of those ones who's ever tried to be like a power lifter or anything like that. I'm not saying I wouldn't in the future. But one thing I will say too, physically, having caught COVID in November 2021, man, this is really, really taking a toll on my health. I get tired really easily. I take the stairs at work, so it's 5 flights of stairs. by the time I get to that second flight, between the second and third flight, man, I'm almost winded. And that, I know that I haven't really exercised as much as I need to, and I know that I'm also getting older. But man, it's crazy, man. That long COVID stuff is real. So I've been struggling with that. So I need to get that together. But I'm just, it's really nothing to it but to do it, get back on the bandwagon, and explore whatever limits I do have. I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure what the extent of the damage was to my lungs and or the organs from having COVID, from contracting COVID. But I got to go ahead and push past that. And if I'm only at 70%, 80% lung capacity or whatever it is, I got to go ahead and use 100% of that 70-80%. You know what I mean? So I can't use that even as an excuse. So I'm just praying to God that I can go ahead and still live a life where I can go ahead and just further my responsibilities. I even noticed if I walk for a long time, like no effort really, no running or jogging, just walking for a long time, 20-30 minutes or whatever, I notice that I get tired and it has an impact on my body, man. So it's like that's been a real big downside to life. However, I will say that having long COVID is what I'll call it, because my doctor didn't tell me I have long COVID. I did tell him that, hey, this is what's going on. But having long COVID now has not decreased my joy. I'll be honest with you about that. I don't know. It's just maybe because I never was an athlete, so it didn't crush me that much, right? It didn't take away this insane innate ability that I had to maybe dunk a basketball, return a football 93 yards or something like that. It didn't have that impact on me. I didn't take something like that away because I never had that in the first place, right? So I'm thinking that's why it hasn't really impacted my joy as much. So I still been feeling pretty good from the standpoint of mentally and emotionally, right? But that's there's been some challenges there too, maintaining that, but I guess COVID just hasn't impacted it. I got my kids into sports this year, so that's something I was looking forward to. My 3 youngest kids, I think I've expressed before, my wife and I, we've got a total of 7, and I've actually went on ahead and got my 3 youngest kids involved in sports. I was really, really proud of that, because for the longest, even before they were born, before my wife and I even got married, I told her, hey, I want our kids to, ISL, one instrument, one sport, one language. I want them to learn at least, one other language besides English, right? And be involved in one sport. And though I can't say that this has been, something necessarily long term they're gonna do, my 2 younger girls, they're one of them is 6, and the other one's gonna be 10 in literally a couple of months. They did soccer, and then my 10-year-old son, who just turned 11, he actually did flag football, which was cool, so I got some video of them doing what they do and all that stuff. And so just to get them to see, to be able to see for myself, first and foremost, what they can do out there on the field, man, was pretty cool. And to get them to see that they can do something besides just play video games, besides just go to school, besides spend 10-12 hours a day in front of a screen, that's something that I've been kind of struggling with, my wife and I, trying to find time, because she's in school right now. My wife has been in school, and she's also got some business stuff that she's running and trying to make the most of that. And so and speaking of my wife, I got to give her props, because the end of this year, her and my 22-year-old bonus son, they actually went on ahead, and my bonus son, he's 22, he's living with us. He graduated college in the spring of 22, and now he's at home with us here in Detroit. And the 2 of them actually went on ahead and did a lot of painting and scraping the paint, and really transformed our front room from what it was before. It was kind of dark and danky, really, to be quite honest with you, that's my opinion anyway, to now they actually transformed it. Plus in November we got our kitchen redone. End of November, beginning of December, we got our kitchen redone. So went on ahead and took care of that. And that takes me back to the finances too, because I took out a couple of loans this year. One was to join a real estate program. You see those real estate gurus and all that stuff, and I joined one real estate program. I took out a loan so I could put down a gang of money on this real estate program, and I don't regret it. Now, I have not went on ahead and actually used the full capabilities of the program yet. I've been trying to get some deals and stuff like that, mostly dealing with wholesaling. I've done a couple wholesale deals. As a matter of fact, I did a video about one of those deals here on my channel, and but I haven't gotten any deals outside of that. Big part of the reason is because as soon as I got involved with the program, my job got busier. They said, hey, we're trying to get our market share up, so we're gonna, we're a mortgage company, and we want to, keep the place that we're in, and matter of fact, even go beyond, as they should, right? As they should do. And so they kind of put a lot of pressure on us now to really spend more time. They're trying to get us to kind of, take more hours, work more days. I mean, I've been working last 8.5 years here at the company, pretty much for the most part 6 or 7 days a week. Spending a lot of time. A lot of times I'm doing, anywhere between 55 and 70 hours a week. And it's been helping out a whole lot. This year has been one of the years that it hasn't been as productive. There's been, again, the inflation in the market, and as well as, what's happening with interest rates, right? All that stuff combined together. It's presented some opportunities, but you got to really, really, really dig. And it's just a tough time right now in the mortgage industry. And so I've been working on my sales skills, getting my sales skills up. But I do need to put more time into that. So I just got to make sure I find time for that. But between the job, between doing the real estate, between doing family, just, it's and staying busy, all that stuff, you got to really figure out how to maximize your time, right? What's the best way? What's the use of your time? What's the best use of your time that you have? So, been working on that. My relationship with my mom has had its ups and downs this year. I was actually instrumental in helping her to get into another living care facility. My mother is in her 70s, and she's actually schizophrenic. As a matter of fact, I think I may have mentioned that in another video as well, why we grew up in foster homes. Like, my mom didn't take care of us, and it wasn't that she didn't want to. She tried, but looking back, we were taken out of her home and put into foster homes and stuff like that. And so, I mean, looking back, obviously as a kid, you don't like that. You got this emotional connection to your parent. You don't care what's going on. You just want to be with your parent. But looking back, I could see that it was the best decision. My dad was around for a few years, but then he passed away when I was 6 years old. So I had to struggle with that for a long time. Why he passed away, why he didn't get us out of foster care and all that stuff. Why would a man let his kids be in foster care? But that's a video for another day. So I'll say again, just looking back on this year in review here, my mom is in another place. As a matter of fact, I just happen to be outside that place she's at right now, and just wanted to check on her and see how she's doing. And so she doesn't like it because she's kind of constrained. She doesn't get to do all that she wants to do and have full access to her money 100% of the time and things like that. But seeing how she's left other places, man, this is definitely a great thing for her. I don't worry about her as much. I used to worry about her when she was on the east side of Detroit, near 8 Mile and DeQuinder. If you guys know that area, I used to worry about her being over there and by herself and all that stuff. Now she's really close to where I live, which is good. Emotionally, I think I haven't had as many ups and downs this year as I may have had maybe some other years. It's not to say I'm always up and down or always sad or anything like that. I have dealt with depression in my life, especially in my 20s and 30s. I really did deal with depression a lot. I think being married has kind of helped that. I don't like living alone. I realize that about myself. I don't suggest you get married just so you don't live alone. But I will say that being married and having somebody to walk through life with can really add a plus to your life. You just want to make sure you marry the right person. But I think a big part of it for me this year of not falling prey to depression, not falling prey to bad times or internal stuff or different messages and negativity and all that stuff so much, right? I won't say not at all, but I would say so much, is just taking responsibility for my life, right? You know, learning really to take, and I won't say learning, I'll say relearning, really, because I remember at one point in my life, it was just like, no matter what happens, if you're in a bad position, you could try to blame somebody else, you could try to blame different systems and different theologies or different social constructs out there, but at the end of the day, you got to take extreme responsibility for your life. You got to take extreme responsibility for your life and say, hey, you know, I'm in this position because of this, right? You made the decision, whether yesterday or whether you did it 20 years ago, and that kind of had a domino effect, and now you're in this position, you know, good or bad, right? You take extreme ownership of it. As a matter of fact, I really would say bad. You take extreme ownership, and if it's really good, you give glory to God and say, hey, I'm glad God did this, right? If it's all going well, God did it. If it's all going bad, you did it, right? And taking that kind of responsibility, right? You know, that they have that saying, you work like it all depends on God. I mean, excuse me, you work like it all depends on you, and you pray like it all depends on God. So taking that track there, I think, can be real helpful. What else? My relationship with my kids. Obviously, I got 7 kids. My wife and I. I've got 4 biological kids and 3 bonus sons. And in my relationship, I want my relationship with my bonus kids to be just as great as it is with my biological kids, right? You know, near the end of the year, I went on ahead and helped one of my sons get some furniture. He didn't have it, and I think that it was just, I saw myself at his age. You know, he's 26 years old. He's got his first apartment. He's got a great paying job, which is cool, but he's kind of, you know, coming up with, you know, catching up from behind with some other stuff, and just kind of learning how life is and the demands of life and stuff like that. And I'm not for, hey, I want to, you know, pay your way through life. I'm not for that, you know, as an adult, especially a man. But I will say that it doesn't hurt sometimes to give somebody a little bit of support and say, hey man, I see you out here doing your thing. I see you struggling, so here, let me get this for you. You know, so I bought him some furniture, and the furniture he wanted, it was a little bit expensive on my pockets, but I said, hey, I'll do it. And I went on ahead and threw down a little charge card, 0% interest, so it worked out. And so yeah, I think that really, you know, helped him out. And he was kind of shocked that I did it. You know, I'll be honest with you, me and him, out of my 3 bonus sons, me and him have had I've had the hardest challenge with him, I would say, over the years. I've had challenges with all of them, right? You know, I'm stepdad, and you know, not even just them, my biological kids too. I have challenges with them too, right? Just because they got your blood running through their veins, don't mean you won't have challenges with them. It'll just be a different kind of challenge, you know. And it's unique to each of them, right? But with him, I would say probably out of all 7 of my kids, I probably had the most challenges. And what I kind of thought about is, and I never admit this to my wife, so I hope she's not watching this, but he's a lot like me, to be truthful with you. And I see he's got some of my same qualities and things like that I had when I was in my 20s and stuff like that. So, you know, I just want to be supportive, and at the same time say, hey man, I let him know, hey man, we ain't gonna do this next time, but hey, I got you now. You know what I'm saying? You a crippler person, you try to always try to be there for them and support them. You gotta let them stand on their own. But it doesn't hurt to kind of just give them a head start. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people have had head starts. A lot of people would say, hey, why don't you go out there and grind and just, you know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps like I did. And you looked at their history, whether it was, you know, their parents giving them something, or their great-grandparents or grandparents or whatever had an advantage, and they were able to capitalize off of that, you know, years down the line. You know, I've never believed in, you know, I made it on my own. I did this myself. Yeah, you put a lot of work into it and you did it, but somebody somewhere along the way helped you. You know, somewhere along the way, somebody said, yeah, I'm gonna ride with you on this one. You know what I mean? So, self-made, I never really believed in that. I do get it. I know what you mean. You put the work in and you stayed up late at night, you know, working on everything, and that's cool. And to that degree, yeah, you did it, right? But somewhere along the way, somebody else had to see your vision, see your mission, and ride with you on it. So the whole self-made thing, I think people need to, you know, just take that with a grain of salt. Spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, I think I covered everything. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of stuff. I mean, you want to talk about a whole year, in a few minutes. That could be difficult. But yeah, I would say just I'm continuing to work on myself. I want to continue to be better and better. I don't think anybody should be satisfied with where they are in life. And when I say satisfied, I don't mean like, okay, you don't like where you are. I think everybody should take a look at themselves and see, well, am I satisfied with my life? Am I where I need to be? That stuff. But yeah, but anyway, man. So I got a lot of stuff I still want to work on personally about myself. I could stay here all day and talk about that. Some things I want to get better at. But I'll say the biggest thing is continuing to take extreme responsibility of my life. Being a little bit more outspoken sometimes. The stuff I need to say, I may not always say it, and I got to work on that. So I want to be a blessing, a true, sincere blessing to people around me. And I just want to go ahead and just take extreme ownership. All right, listen, hey, I appreciate you watched this video. Hope you watched it in its entirety. If you didn't, that's okay, no big deal. But definitely feel free to subscribe. Definitely like this video. Obviously, it helps the algorithm out. But thanks very much for spending just a little bit out of your day with me. Take care, and I wish you a very, very blessed, happy, and prosperous 2023. Take care.